Recently, the NFL has been a hotbed of news and intense discussions, with plenty of important developments making waves across the league. Over the past 48 hours, a number of stories have emerged that have captured the attention of fans and analysts alike. One of the most intriguing is the situation surrounding a player who has just been picked up by the New York Giants, a team that's currently navigating some major decisions about their quarterback situation. On top of that, there's buzz surrounding a renowned quarterback who is likely to move teams soon, and there's a significant prospect who could have a major impact on the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. It's a lot to unpack, and as we dig deeper into these stories, we're going to explore the potential ramifications for the Cowboys and the league as a whole. First things first, let's talk about the Giants. Recently, they made a move that could have a long-term impact on their future. The team has signed a player for a one-year deal, with hopes that he will eventually become their starting quarterback. While this signing is significant, it also raises a number of questions about the team's direction and their approach to the upcoming draft. Right now, the Giants have several quarterbacks on the roster, and it's unclear whether they will actually prioritize selecting a new quarterback with their third pick in the draft. The situation doesn't necessarily scream urgency. In fact, the team might not be under any pressure to make such a move. If we take a step back, we can see that the Giants are in a somewhat unique position. Their decision to potentially select a quarterback at such a high pick would not be a desperate one, but rather a calculated strategic move. And that's something worth considering. If a top-tier quarterback happens to be available at the third spot, there's a good chance that the Giants will seriously entertain the idea of making him the centerpiece of their future. However, if they don't feel confident in any of the quarterbacks available, it's very likely they will choose a different path, possibly opting for a different position that could help the team in the long run. In the event that a quarterback who fits their vision for the future is available, and a trade up to secure him is possible, the Giants would likely pull the trigger. They're not the type of team to let opportunities slip away, especially when it comes to securing their franchise quarterback for the next decade. That said, there's still some uncertainty. The market for quarterbacks is incredibly dynamic, and it's possible that one of the top quarterbacks in the draft may not be available when the Giants make their pick. If that happens, what would be their next move? It's hard to say for sure, but the fact that they have a couple of quarterbacks on the roster who could potentially step up as starters is something to keep in mind. These players might not be the long-term answer, but they could be capable of keeping the team afloat for another year or two while the Giants continue to evaluate their options. This brings us to the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants situation is particularly interesting for the Cowboys because, in theory, the Cowboys could face this new quarterback at least twice a season if he does indeed become the starter. The idea of facing a new, potentially talented quarterback twice a year should be something that the Cowboys front office and coaching staff are closely monitoring. The question is, does the addition of this new quarterback to the Giants roster raise concerns for the Cowboys? Does this shift the balance of power in the NFC East? It's certainly worth thinking about, and it will be interesting to see how the Cowboys approach this potential matchup. While the Giants' quarterback situation doesn't directly impact the Cowboys right now, it could have long-term implications, especially if that quarterback proves to be a solid addition to the team. But let's shift focus for a moment. We've been hearing a lot about the draft, and one of the most significant stories revolves around a quarterback who is rumored to be a high pick this year. This player is a potential game-changer for whichever team decides to select him. Now, some reports are suggesting that a team could decide to go a different route entirely and pick a different player with the second overall pick instead of quarterback. That's right, we're talking about a player who is considered to be the favorite to be selected second overall, though opinions are still shifting as the draft approaches. This could be a huge development for the Cowboys because if this scenario plays out, there's a very real possibility that some of the other top quarterbacks in the draft could fall to them at their spot, potentially giving them the chance to pick up someone who could be a star. If a top quarterback doesn't go in the first few picks, the Cowboys could very well end up with one of their top targets. However, the draft is never that simple. It's always full of surprises, and the Cowboys will have to stay sharp if they want to take advantage of any opportunities that arise. If a quarterback or another top prospect unexpectedly falls to them, they could be in an ideal position to make a major move. But if they don't end up with a quarterback in this draft, it doesn't mean they're out of luck. There are plenty of talented players available at other positions, and the Cowboys have a number of areas that they could look to address with their picks. The situation is constantly evolving, and while there's a lot of speculation, one thing is for sure. The Cowboys are in a strong position to capitalize on whatever unfolds in the draft. Whether they end up with a quarterback, a wide receiver, a defensive player, or even an offensive lineman, the choices they make in the next few weeks could have a major impact on the team's future. Now, let's talk a little bit about the New England Patriots. They've been making some moves recently, particularly in the free agent market. The Patriots are a team that has been very active in securing talent, and one of their most notable acquisitions has been a player who could be a game changer for them. This player was signed to a 3-year deal worth $69 million, with $26 million of that guaranteed. That's a significant contract, one that positions the Patriots as major players in the free agency market. This move almost certainly takes them out of the running for some of the top wide receivers in the draft, as they now have their receiving core bolstered. With this signing, the Patriots have positioned themselves to compete at a higher level, and it will be interesting to see how this influences their draft strategy moving forward. It's clear that the Patriots are trying to build a team that can compete now, and this signing is a statement move. But it also raises questions about their future plans. Does this contract change their draft priorities? Will they go after a quarterback or other positions of need, or will they look to strengthen other areas of the team? The signing of this receiver has certainly made the Patriots a team to watch in the draft, as they now have fewer holes to fill and more flexibility to make moves. As we move closer to the draft, it will be interesting to see how all these decisions play out. There's so much at stake for the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Patriots, and each team's strategy will have a ripple effect throughout the league. Stay tuned, because the next few weeks are going to be critical in shaping the future of the NFL. As we continue to look ahead, another significant storyline in the NFL revolves around the upcoming draft and how different teams will position themselves for future success. For the Dallas Cowboys, there's much anticipation about what direction they will take with their draft picks. With a roster that is already filled with talent, the team faces some unique decisions. While the Cowboys don't necessarily need to target a quarterback, as they have Dak Prescott firmly entrenched as their starter, they could still look to add depth at the position for the future. But there are other areas of the team that also require attention, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. It's not just about the big names in the draft. It's about finding players who can come in and contribute immediately. The Cowboys have a great opportunity to enhance their defense, especially with some of the top defensive prospects potentially falling to them in the draft. Whether it's adding an impact player on the defensive line or securing a playmaking linebacker, the team has the chance to bolster a unit that could already be one of the league's top defenses in the coming seasons. The defense has been solid for the Cowboys, but there's always room for improvement, and adding the right pieces could make a big difference, especially in the NFC East, where every game is crucial. The Cowboys have shown that they can compete with the best, but it's all about fine-tuning the roster to ensure they are in prime position to make a deep playoff run. What's even more intriguing is the fact that the Cowboys may have the chance to select one of the top quarterbacks in the draft, despite not necessarily needing one right now. If the board falls in a way that a quarterback slips to them at a value pick, it could open the door for the Cowboys to draft a future starter or at least develop a player for the future. It's all about the long-term plan, and while Prescott is firmly in control, having a young, talented quarterback ready to take over when the time comes could be invaluable for the team's future. But let's shift focus back to the New England Patriots. Their recent moves have certainly turned some heads, particularly the signing of a key free agent who is set to make an immediate impact on their offense. As mentioned earlier, this player was signed to a 3-year, $69 million deal with $26 million guaranteed. This was a huge contract for a wide receiver, and it essentially solidifies the Patriots' receiving core for the foreseeable future. However, the question now is whether the Patriots will shift their focus to other positions in the draft or continue to build on their offense. With the addition of this receiver, the Patriots may now feel that their focus should be on strengthening other areas, such as the defense or the offensive line. This could have a ripple effect throughout the rest of the draft, as teams may need to adjust their strategies based on the moves made by the Patriots and other teams. This is especially true when considering the Patriots' need for a quarterback. Although they now have a top-tier wide receiver, they still face the question of what to do about their quarterback situation. Mac Jones has shown flashes of potential, but there are still questions about his long-term viability as a starter in New England. If the Patriots are truly committed to building for the future, it's possible they will take a quarterback early in the draft, even though they now have other areas of need. The quarterback market in the draft is deep, and several teams, including the Patriots, are closely monitoring the situation. Looking beyond the Patriots, there are a number of other teams that will be heavily involved in the draft, particularly in the first round. The Raiders, for example, have the 6th pick, and there's been significant buzz about them potentially selecting a player who could make an immediate impact on their offense. Whether it's a wide receiver or a quarterback, the Raiders are in a position to make a bold move that could set the tone for their franchise moving forward. Similarly, the Jets, with the 7th overall pick, will be looking to strengthen their roster, and they could go in a number of directions. Whether they look to bolster their offensive line or add a playmaking wide receiver, the Jets are in a position to build a strong foundation for their future. Then there's Carolina, who is sitting at the 8th overall pick. The Panthers are in the midst of a rebuild, and they could look to add talent on both sides of the ball. With a need for both offensive and defensive upgrades, Carolina is a team that could be looking to make a splash in the draft. And don't forget about the Saints, who hold the 9th pick. They're another team that could go in a number of directions, depending on how the board falls. The 6 and 9 picks are definitely ones to watch, as they could set the stage for the rest of the draft and potentially impact the Cowboys and other teams in the process. As the draft approaches, it's clear that there's a lot at stake for all of these teams. The decisions made in the first round will shape the future of the league, and for the Cowboys, this is their chance to secure a player who could make a major impact on their roster. Whether it's a quarterback, a defensive star, or an offensive lineman, the Cowboys have the opportunity to build for the future and continue their push for a championship. And as we look at the bigger picture, it's exciting to think about all the possibilities that lie ahead. The NFL draft is always full of surprises, and this year is no exception. The teams that make the best decisions now will be the ones that find success in the years to come. The Cowboys are in a great position, and if they play their cards right, they could come out of this draft even stronger than before. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The buzz surrounding Ja'Marr Chase's future is palpable. Fans are already imagining what it would be like if a superstar wide receiver were to leave the Cincinnati Bengals and join forces with the Dallas Cowboys. While rumors are always rampant in the NFL, this potential move has ignited conversations that could change the landscape of the league. As one of the most explosive and consistent playmakers in recent seasons, Chase's skills would undoubtedly complement the Cowboys' offensive ambitions. But is there more to this speculation than meets the eye? After yet another remarkable season where Chase won the coveted NFL receiving triple crown in 2024, leading the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, the possibility of him exploring new horizons is tantalizing. The Bengals have already exercised his 5th-year option, but his desire for a contract extension has led to a standoff with Cincinnati. Could the Cowboys, with their substantial cap space and championship aspirations, swoop in and make him an offer he can't refuse? The thought of pairing Chase with Dak Prescott is enough to send chills down the spine of any defensive coordinator. Dallas has been seeking that game-changing playmaker who can take the offense to the next level. While CeeDee Lamb has shown flashes of brilliance, adding a talent like Chase would solidify the Cowboys as an offensive juggernaut. Imagine a combination of Chase's precise route running and explosive speed alongside Lamb's versatility. With the threat of both wideouts, the Cowboys' aerial attack could become one of the NFL's most potent forces, able to dominate any defense they face. However, the Bengals' reluctance to part ways with their star receiver shouldn't be underestimated. Cincinnati has invested heavily in Chase, and losing him would not only impact their offensive chemistry, but could also be a significant blow to their Super Bowl aspirations. But in the world of professional sports, no player is untouchable, and the Cowboys are known for making bold moves. Could Dallas be preparing a trade that will shake up the league? The next few months could reveal whether this dream scenario becomes a reality. As the offseason unfolds, the tension around Ja'Marr Chase's future will only intensify. The idea of him wearing the star on his helmet is one that seems too good to ignore for both Cowboys fans and the team's front office. As negotiations heat up and the NFL landscape shifts, one thing is certain. This is a story that will keep fans on the edge of their seats. Will the Dallas Cowboys land one of the NFL's most dynamic players, or will Chase remain in Cincinnati, continuing his reign as one of the league's premier wideouts? Only time will tell. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.